Suzuki V-Strom. So this is Suzuki's entry into the adventure bike market. V-Strom's been out a long time. We have the two models, the 1050 and the 800 with this new parallel twin I was just talking about with the 800 GSX F. I've forgotten the name. You know which one I'm talking about. So the 1050 is coming around 14,000 sterling. It has about 107 PS, so say 110 horsepower. Or does it work the other way around? About 100 horsepower. It has enough horsepower. This one here, as I said, with the 800, the new parallel twin, it is coming in at around the 80 horsepower mark. You don't see a huge amount of them on the roads, and I don't know why. They're a good-looking bike. It's quite distinctive. I like the yellow color on it. They look fit for purpose. I'm saying a lot, aren't I? Anyway, I just did it again. They seem very fit for purpose. They're a Suzuki, so they're going to be reliable. They do look good. The 800, I think, is going to be the pick of the bunch. If you've heard, seen me on any of my other videos on the Tenere 700 or the MT 800, sorry, the CF Moto 800 MT, I think the sweet spot is this mid-range bike. Unless you're traveling two up or you're carrying an entire house in the back, or unless you're really, I'll say nothing. There's no need for a 1200s. These are more than happy enough to keep going on the straights. They're going to be more nimble on the twisties, and they're going to carry as much as you need. That's my opinion anyway. But I really like them. I like the look of it. This engine sounds really interesting on this new 800cc engine. Sounds cracking. It's a bit kind of Honda's doing the same thing because they've got the new 750cc engine out in their Hornet 750 and their new Transalp 750. So, don't get me started on the Transalp. But yeah, so it's kind of entertaining that they've both come out with new engines and stuck them in naked bikes and an off-road bike at the same time. But that's the way the market is going. Suzuki gets rid of GSXRs, but we have more of these. So I doubt I'm going to get to ride one in the new year. It'll be lovely if someone did get me one to ride one, because I think they're a good bike. Definitely worth a shout if you're in the market. That's my shout anyway. So here we have the Africa Twin and the Transalp, both names which go back aeons in the whole Honda history. So the Africa Twin has been around a few years now. I rode one in Goodwood, Festival of Speed, oh God, it must be 6-7 years ago now. I've lost track of time. We all lost 2 years with this COVID shite. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I wasn't a great fan, and I'm still not. I found it just a little bit too clinical, a little bit too competent. There's no emotion on it. It was like a white good. You sat in it, it did its job perfectly, but there's just no emotion. I'm sorry, Honda fanboys, again, dislike. I'm being honest, I didn't rate it. But as I said, the previous about the blades, and if you're a Honda fan, you're a Honda fan. Nothing else will come close. So if you love Honda, you're going to go for an Africa Twin. You're not going to go for a GS or a KTM. You love the Africa Twins, and they are fairly popular on the continent. I was in the Balkans last year, and okay, the GSs were first, KTMs were second, but I was surprised the amount of Africa Twins that were on the road. Now the Transalp is a new, how do you say, reborn. There is a word, I can't think of it. I told you this wasn't scripted. So anyway, so the Transalp name has been reborn, for want of a better term. It now has that new 750cc engine, which is in the new Hornet. Again, that parallel twin, making around 91 horsepower. That is a lot, and more than enough for an off-road bike. Now, if any of you had seen my video on the older 650 Transalp from Morocco earlier on this year, worst bike I ever rode. And have a look back on my videos and you'll see it. I hated it, absolutely despised it. It was like it was a DeVille and a G-string. Basically, I hated it. The new one looks a lot more capable. People love the bikes. The Honda people love Hondas. I can't really say anything about it. I'll be interested to ride a Transalp. I will be open-minded about it. The Africa Twin just does nothing for me. I'm sorry. I've ridden it. They're just a bit. I still have a Honda Firestorm. I still own the Honda. Please, Honda owners, don't dislike me. I'm just being honest. So the Kawasaki Versys 1000, it's their entry into the adventure bike market. Although they do seem to be far more road orientated, more of a kind of a a raised sport tourer, even though they have enough sport tourers themselves with the SXs, etc. But I suppose if you're looking at this sitting higher adventure bike, ADB dual purpose bike market, the Versys 1000 seems to be their entry into it. More kind of along the multistrada S1000 XR kind of genre. God, that sounds wanky. They're stretching from around, seem to be well enough priced, from about 11 grand, just around 11 grand, to the all bells and whistles, which is about 17 grand. I think they make about 120 horsepower. I should have remembered that. Yeah, about 120 horsepower. They're not bad looking bikes, they're good looking bikes. I seem to be very tough on Kawasaki, especially in the last video when I was talking about the range in general. They're interesting bikes and I'm being unfair about it. Like the SX is a nutter. Oh, there is. Okay, stay there. You definitely know I'm winging this, because there's a Versys 650 over there. I'm guessing another 650 parallel twin, which definitely looks a bit more off-roady. Well, it's got spotlights on it, so it must be an adventure bike. I don't know, there's nothing there to go against the GS or the DesertX. Nothing with it. There doesn't seem to be any 21-inch front wheels hanging around or spoke rims around, but they're good looking bikes, they're decent bikes. If you're into Kawasaki's, the same as into Hondas, nothing else is really going to matter to you. You're going to like it. And you know, they're reliable old bikes, that's unfair. They're good, reliable, solid bikes. They're interesting, some are better looking than others. I actually don't mind the look of this. SX kind of thing is a bit dodgy, but these are good looking bikes. Yeah, I think you'd be quite happy if you got one. So yeah, it's kind of a thumbs up from me. Thumbs up from me. What the hell do I think I am here? Yamaha Tenere 700, anyone who's ridden one absolutely loves it. And I actually finally got to review one of these bikes early this year in Rhodes in Greece around March. So I'll post a link up to that video. I did about 240 kilometers on it in the space of 24 hours. And I am a super bike person. I love 200 horsepower sport bikes. I love them, love them, love them. But I have no qualms about admitting that the Tenere 700 is one of the greatest bikes I've ever ridden in my life. That's not a joke. If you watch the video reviewing it, you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm not that competent on off-road. I'm okay. I don't embarrass myself. I don't make an ass of myself. But it did what I had to do off-road. On-road though, it was like a supermoto. I could not well believe coming straight off-road, bish bash bosh, within a couple of kilometers, I'm on these twisty roads and roads, and it was an absolute hoot, an absolute blast. I love the Tenere. Now they have the World Raid, which is an extra couple of grand. From what I gather, it's just a higher spec suspension. Do you know, I'm going to put the specs here because I did know what the specs. I'm going to put them here. I'll let you read them, the differences. Someone's walking past, that's great for me to be quiet, so you can read the difference between the World Raid and the Standard. You're finished now, you read it, make sense of it, cool. I'll talk crap, I've talked enough crap. Right, so the Tenere 700 and the Super Tenere. Is there another Yamaha? There's more adventure bikes down there. I'll run down there. Do they make the Versys or Kawasaki? I'm losing track of my mind here. Right, Tenere 700, one of the best bikes in the world. If you're in the market for it, you've got to ride one. I love it. Good luck now. Of course, Yamaha have another entrant in the adventure bike market. The Tracers. So the Tracer 700 and the Tracer 900. Tracer 700s, they're starting off at around 9-10 grand, 8-9 grand. I'm milking it. I'm not even worried about, go ahead, sir. I'm not even going to worry about people going across anymore. I just don't have the time. It is 690, making around 75 horsepower. I'm not too sure, is this the same engine as the Tenere 700? It would make sense that it would be. God, I'm really good at doing my research in advance. Talk about professional. I can't even fucking read the bloody fucking information sheets beforehand. Anyway, Tracer 700 looks good. Starting off, stay there. That one's 8 grand, which is the bog standard model. This one's 9.7, it's the GT, has a few more bells and whistles. Looks really, really nice. The 9s, Tracer 9s, they're about 100 horsepower. Hold on now. I lie, 120 horsepower. Listen, you don't get video reviews like this. You don't get show reviews like this who can just like wing it and blab it as best as I can. How many more people are hitting dislike now? So you've got the Tracer 7, a Tracer 9 and the Tracer 9 GT, starting off at around 14 grand, and that one sitting at about 17, 18,000. That does seem to be going into some fairly tetchy kind of area there. There's a lot of competition in that area between multistradas and between, well, Ducatis and BMWs, premium bikes. They're good looking bikes. If you're crossing continents, I suppose, primarily on the road, hey, why not? Me personally, I'd get the Tenere 700 instead. Although that's not cheap, that world rate is about 11 grand as well. Jesus, these decisions. All right, Yamaha, Tracer 7.9 GTs. I'm a professional. So this is the Multistrada V4 Rally, and I think this looks fantastic. It is £24,000, £23,590, which I actually don't think is a bad price for what you're getting. Look at it, it is fantastic. It's a great looking bike, and I'm not saying that as a Ducati fanboy. I just think it looks absolutely fabulous. About 170 horsepower. One major problem with the Multistrada V4s, and I know this from good authority, a mate of mine has one of these, is these drink fuel like fish. They are killers on fuel. So if you are going out in a group, they were up the Pyrenees, there was about 4 or 5 of them, mix of KTMs and BMWs and the everyone had to stop every time he had to stop. He knows who I'm talking about. I won't mention his name, Steve. But he had to stop after every couple of 100 kilometers, had to refill up again, and the other lad would still have 100 kilometers left in the tank. So something to be aware of. Now I believe the new ones, they've reconfigured the software, that it's something like cylinder deactivation. So that's supposed to do something about the fuel economy. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I have ridden one. Maybe next year I'll do a video review on one. I just took my mates out for a spin, loved it, great old bike, and this V4 Rally version looks divine. Now, the Desert X. I actually rode the Desert X earlier on today, so you'll have some onboard footage of it. And I cannot believe I'm saying this. I was actually very disappointed. Now, from the reviews I've seen of it, people say it's a fantastic bike, etc., etc. I'm not an off-road type person. I'm competent enough, I'm not embarrassing on it. I know how to ride. If you've seen my review videos earlier on in the year from Morocco and Greece, riding the CF Moto 800, the Tenere 700, the Transalp, I'm not the worst off-road, I can handle myself. But when doing that course earlier, there was 2 things that really bugged about. I nearly got off and cut it short because I couldn't ride it. First of all, the ABS, the front ABS, is so aggressive. I know we primarily use the back brake on when you're going off-roading, but I still, when I'm getting used to a bike, will still kind of dab and touch the front brake until I'm kind of getting used to it. It's a brand new bike, I just sat on it. And I remember, you probably never heard me say it before, I actually own an old 1995 Super Tenere 750. That thing is a tank. And funny enough, I have the identical tires on my old a spare wheeled road set and an off-road set. So I have the Crew Extreme, Crew 3s on the rear and Crew Extreme on the front of my old Super Tenere, which is on the same as this Desert X. But we were going down, there was the hill, every time I tried it, going down is a sharp left-hander. I'm barely scrape touching the front brake, and the ABS kicked in. So you're trying to do a corner, you're trying to go down and do a corner, but it was tip, and I kept missing. Each time it kept missing, and that was infuriating. The other thing as well, the throttle is so snatchy. So you need to kind of keep low revs, keep the torque of the bikes going. And just like literally, like no problem, it'll flow with you. There was a little give and snatch. It was like there was nothing. There was play. I actually had to ask them afterwards, is there something wrong with this? Is this normal now? They just, well, that seems normal enough. But the bike was off. But there's definitely too much play there. So to be consistent and smooth in it, I couldn't get it. Now, I've done that course 4 years in a row now. I've done it on the Tiger 800, a Scrambler 1200. Last year I did it on the Himalayan 450. And as I said earlier on this year, I've taken the T700, blah, blah, blah. I've ridden a lot of off-road bikes, proper off-road, and I've never ridden anything like that at all. I didn't like it, it just wasn't confidence inspiring at all. And I'm a Ducati fanboy, and I know I'm going to be getting dislikes and everything on that, and I'm sorry, I have to be honest about it. But the Desert X, for me, maybe it was a faulty bike, I don't know. They were all Italian registered, maybe they were just demos that they were sent out because they're going to be dropped, or maybe I'm just a shite off-road rider. But the Desert X was a massive disappointment for me. I love riding this on the road, it's an incredible bike, all the Multistradas are, but their off-road effort, that Desert X, I'm really sorry, it didn't work for me. So that's it. I'm going to move on from Ducati.
Okay, so a quick bit of an update, or a bit of a quick update on my experience on the DesertX, because it really annoyed me. It did annoy me because, it just felt something was wrong. So when I got home, I had a bit of a look up to see proper reviews by people who know what they're talking about. And this is what I found out, and it might explain things. So there's 6 power modes, or 6 modes. 2 of them are off-road specific, enduro and rally. Now, our bikes were set up enduro. So this is what I read, and this is verbatim. You love that word. Jesus. So anyway, this is what I read. Enduro mode is great for less experienced off-roaders. The ABS and traction control in that mode is turned up much higher than in rally. So, that's the crack. It was basically, ABS was set to feckin' maximum, which is the reason why it was kicking in. So, I didn't want at all. I don't want any ABS on it at all. Anyway, but it was just, that's why it was so aggressive. So that explains that. I think it explains that. And also, on top of that, there are 4 separate power modes, ranging between the motor's full fat 110 brake horsepower and 75 brake horsepower in enduro mode. So yeah, in enduro mode, the mode that we were in, it was cut to 75 horsepower. So that may have explained why the throttle was so snatchy that I couldn't get a decent, consistent rev or smoothness. Or you heard me bitch about it. That may explain that. I'm not too sure. I'll have to ride it again, which means Ducati, you're going to have to give me another bike to ride properly and to see if I can make more sense of it. Anyway, that's it. I just had to say it. Talking more shite again. So good luck to you now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
So KTM adventure bikes, you're going out in the continent, you're going to see these up against, it seems to be par for the, even Stevens between GSs now, you're going to see KTMs, they're 890s, they're 1290s, 390s, I think I've seen an adventure there. But you have so many different derivatives of them. There's from Super Adventure Rs to Super Duke GTs, there's Adventure S's. It's so hard to keep up with them. I may have said earlier, but I'm going to be, fingers crossed, riding a GT, Super Duke GT, this bike, in January in Tenerife. Fingers crossed. They're great bikes. If it was my money, it would be the 890. I'm probably going to do a voiceover on this because I'm running out of time. For me, the 890s, because I think the mid-range bikes are far better than the big bikes, but I'm running out of time. I need to go get more stands. About 3 minutes. They're going to kick me out. This is the worst. Voiceover time. Music and voiceover.
So the adventure bikes, KTM is trying to go down the same path as Triumph and BMW and hit every feckin' market, every niche, out-niche the niche of the market, of the adventure bike market. So starting off, you have the 390 Adventure, which I think looks class. It looks brilliant. $6,000 or just under $6,000 sterling. It's only a 373cc engine and 43 horsepower. But that's more than enough. If you're short of stature and not carrying much, sure, what more do you need? Then you're going up to the 890 Adventure and the 890 Adventure R. You're talking 11.5 to 12.5 grand sterling. You've got the 890cc engine with 103 horsepower. More than enough. That is plenty to be getting along with and would be the sweet spot I'd be going for. And you've heard me say that before. You keep hearing me saying that before. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Have 160, 170 horsepower on a big adventure bike is hilarious. It is great crack. You'll never tire of the thrill of the acceleration of 160 odd, 170 odd horsepower, but you'll make up for it in the twisties, the agility, the better handling, and the more easy to move around off the bike. Jesus, this isn't even... as you can tell, I haven't even scripted this either. Even on a voiceover where I've got time to actually write out stuff and read it properly, I'm talking out me hoop. Anyway, you have the Super Adventures. They start at 15.5 grand. And for the Super Adventure S, then you have the Super Adventure R at 16.5 grand, and then the Super Duke GT, which is just under £18,000. This is before you have any additions, which no doubt KTM will gladly flog to you. Now the GT does make 172 horsepower, as opposed to the other two making about 160. Whether you can tell the difference or not, only you can tell. I am going to be riding, I'm not too sure is that an S or a GT. I'm going to be riding one in January in Tenerife. fingers crossed, all going to plan. And if that's the case, then I'll be doing a review video on it. But that's it, KTMs. I'm a massive fan. But there you go. This voiceover work, brilliant. Someone give me a job doing it. I'm clearly a professional. All right, I'm out of here. Good luck now. Bye-bye.
So the Triumph Tiger, if you're looking for a Tiger, there is a Tiger for you. I have lost track of the names and the times. We have rally pros, we have GT pros, we have rally explorers, we have sports, we have everything. 850s, sorry, 900s to 1200s. There's even the 660 now, which is a great engine. You can see I'm really stressing out here now because I literally have no time. That's her saying, good luck now, get out of here. So voiceover time, I love them. Every time I'm recommending a bike to anyone, formerly I should say, the Triumph Tiger 800. I've ridden loads of them off-road, even here a few years ago on the Triumph Experience, and I loved it. I'm a great fan of these brands. If it was my money, I'm a bit of a Triumph fanboy, so I suppose I'm a bit biased about it, but yeah, I think like other videos that I've been doing now, or other segments or other bikes, it's voiceover time, because I've run out of time.
So the Tigers, like the GSs and I think the KTMs as well, is trying to hit every single niche going when it comes to their adventure bikes. The Tiger 900, I am a massive fan. I loved the 800. I've always recommended it, and I rode it here. Must be 4 or 5 years ago, the last year that they had it here. I rode it on the Experience, same where I had the Ducati DesertX early this morning, and I loved it. I couldn't get that thing to trip up. I absolutely adored it. So you have the Tiger 900 now, starting off at around 11.5 grand, 94 horsepower, and the different derivatives, the GT, the GT Low, the GT Pro, the Rally, and the Rally Pro, and it goes all the way up to £13,500 for the Rally Pro. Now we're jumping up to the Tiger 1200, and the 1200 to me is the exact same as the 1200cc or the 1300cc KTMs, the 1290s, and the 1250 on the BMWs. Do you really need it? Only you can decide that. You know, it's coming in around 14,600 to 18,100 pounds, about 150 horsepower. And again, you have every type of derivative in that. The GT, GT Pro, GT Explorer, and I'm sure there's more adventures and rallies and all that sort of stuff in there as well. All the bells and whistles should you need them. Like the rest of them, like KTM and BMW, we all have our particular brands, and if you are a Triumph fan, you're just going to go for a Tiger. If you're a BMW fan, you're going to go for a GS. And clearly, if you're a KTM fan, you're going to go for an Adventure, 1290 Adventure. I think they're all fairly decent. I think they're all as good as each other. It's really going to come down to personal taste. What am I talking about? And I'm done. I'm done now. Triumph Tigers, there's one for all the family. Go have a look and test one, and if it suits you, go buy one. So, right. Oh, God, this is getting worse. I'm out of here. Good luck. Take it easy now. Bye-bye.
If you're looking for an off-road bike, you're never going to go too far wrong with the GS. The daddy, the granddaddy. Again, you're going to run out of options here. Don't have the time. I'm already 5:05 here. The place is closed. I'm one of the last people here, but I'm doing it just for you. So we have TEs, which are touring editions. We have LEs, which is luxury editions. We have SEs, which are sport editions. We now have 850s. We have a 750 GS. I didn't even know they made a 750. I'll be brutally honest with you. And obviously the daddy, the 1200. This is where I'm going to start doing another voiceover because I've no time. And they're kicking me out and people are looking at me weird and they're turning off lights. So yeah, voiceover. I'm going to do a dance now. Fade out to voiceover.
Gary, amazing job. Love the little dance there. You truly are a legend in this business. So to expand a little bit more on the GSs, you're starting off, I suppose, on the little 310 GS, it's a 313cc single. Then you're kind of going off to their more road-biased off-road adventure bikes. So you have the F750 and the F850. Now they're both the same engine, just in different states of tune. This F750 GS is 8,600, and that's about 77 horsepower. And the F850 GS is starting off at around 10,260, and that's around 95 horsepower. The adventure version that comes in at 11,220. The 1250s are the granddaddy. They are what set this whole mad adventure bike what do you call it? Fad? Movement? Movement. We'll call it a movement. Yeah. So the 1250 GS starts off at 14,340, and you've got your 136 horsepower from the 1250. Is it Shift cam technology, and then you've got to the Adventure, which starts off at 15,650 sterling. GS riders are GS riders. They're a pretty loyal bunch, and there's nothing going to replace a GS. I'm talking shite again. Right, BMW GSs, they're fit for all the family. Oh, and did I mention before that? BMW. Yeah, did I mention before that BMW also does an electric bike? Bye now.